So, welcome everybody to the White Rabbit podcast. I'm your co host, Matt Kraus, coming to you from Bandırma, Turkey. And your other co host, Alpa Rosanes, he couldn't be here today. He's on the road, or more accurately, in the air traveling. So, today it's just me and our guest, Ebru Demirel. In fact, this is Ebru's third appearance on the podcast. Her last appearance was, I think, Ebru, it was about 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been.
so it's been a while. So welcome back, Ebru. It's good to have you, and say hi to our listeners.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Matt, for inviting me again. It's
Yeah, our
it's a
pleasure. Thanks for
pleasure.
being on. Okay, so and being that this is Ebru's third time on the podcast, that puts her in a league of only two people. There's only one other person who has appeared on the podcast three times. So, Abru, you're in elite company here. Anyway,
Um,
today Abru joins us to talk about starting up a new venture. And in a moment, I'll mention how that ties into our podcast's theme, presentations. But first, let me introduce our guest for our new listeners. Ebru lives in Istanbul, Turkey. She runs a business helping expats relocate to or transfer out of Turkey. Like, for example, if you work for, say, Unilever. And by the way, I don't know whether Unilever is or is not one of Ebru's clients. I'm just using that name as an example. So, anyway, so you work for Unilever, and Unilever is moving you from Amsterdam to Istanbul. That's where Ebru's company gets involved. But that company is not what we're here talking about today. So, Ebru, help me wrap up this intro, and then we'll get into that a little bit more. We'll dive into that main topic a little bit more. So, Ebru, tell me, is there anything that I forgot to mention that our listeners should know about you?
no, Matt, thank you for this great and brief introduction. It's exactly what I do for a living,
Okay,
helping people during their, relocation from one country to another.
excellent.
Turkey being origin or destination.
Okay. And one more thing before we get started, Ebru. If our listeners want to get in touch with you after the podcast, where can they find you?
I mean, my email is ebru@asyanakliat.com. Uh, so email would be the best way of reaching out. But I mean, feel free to share my mobile number in case needed.
Okay,
I'm always happy to help.
sure. Okay, and so on to our main topic for today. That is building authority and reputation when you're the new kid in town. And listeners, for those of you wondering what this conversation has to do with presentations, it's this. When we give a presentation, we are often standing in front of a group that is new, or at least relatively new to us, and we want to build our authority and reputation in their eyes. So, listening to the story of someone who is doing a similar thing in a different context, but still very closely adjacent to what we want to do, that's going to help us figure out how to do that for ourselves. So, Abru, to get us started, back up a second and give us the big picture overview of this new venture that you have. You've been in a similar business all of your life, but now you've got this new thing going too. So let's start out with a little big picture context on that. What's this new business and what is it doing?
Okay, as you briefly explained what I do, our company is helping expats or Turkish nationals who decide to live abroad or coming back to home country. This business is so much linked to, I mean, it requires a lot of agent business. Turkey is mainly, the contracts for household goods moving of big national corporations are done at origin countries. For instance, you mentioned Unilever, they are a Dutch company. And when there is any RFP process takes place for their expatriates movements in 1 year, they would go out for bidding in their home country. So that wouldn't take place in countries like Turkey because it's not a Turkish brand. What I mean by that is we always have to be in close contact with uh, movers in other countries, which we call agents. And they are mainly our bookers for their business to our area. So along the years, I've been in the business for a little over 30 years. And it is it's very common in our industry to have a lot of family-owned companies. So we had always, I mean, we meet each other a couple of times a year in different industry events, and we establish trusted business relationship plus sometimes friendship as a bonus. So we, as a family company, we always had the idea to open up something in Europe because we operate our own trucks to from Europe. But as I mentioned, the agent business that we are receiving from those booking countries may get affected in case, for instance, if we have a subsidiary in Germany, a branch, a German mover may see us as a threat, and they may choose to work with another Turkish company when they have a move to from Turkey. So to avoid that, I mean, this has always been a discussion within the company because it would help our services in Europe. But because of the business volume that we may risk to lose, we avoided that. So what's happened this time to change our minds? Because now we just started a business in Athens, Greece, but it is totally based on opportunity, I would say. The reasons that I mentioned, I mean, this agent relationship, trusted network we built also turns out to be a good friendship. I have a long-standing friend who owns a family company in Switzerland. Their company is, I think, it's somewhere between 170 years to 180 years old. Our company is, in that sense, very young, 63 years old. And we have a friend local in Greece who was a general manager of a moving company who decided to establish his own company, but he wanted to have a partner's financial reasons. So me and Lawrence stepped in, my friend from Switzerland, who is also experienced in household goods moving and relocation, and we decided to do this venture together. So this is basically the opportunity came out and we jumped in.
Interesting things that I hear you talking about. Let me see if I heard you correctly. It sounds like so not only are you building trust and you are kind of when you're the new kid in town, but you also have the added dynamic of some of the other agents might see you as a threat. And these are agents who you work with on other projects on a regular basis, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've got these agents. It sounds like your business is the new business is heavily dependent upon referrals from agents. Is that correct?
Exactly. I mean, for the countries like Turkey, Greece, Romania, in this geography is basically relies on the agent business
Okay.
because there aren't many RFPs in that specific country going on.
So not only do you have the dynamic of we are the new kid in town, but you also have the you're sometimes you're working really closely with these agents and on a friendly basis, and sometimes you're a competitor. So that's a complicated relationship to have to navigate. So let's start out with some of the basics. Just tell us, as the new kid in town and this new business, you just started this, what was it, 2, 3 months ago, something like that. Okay. So tell us a little bit about that and how do you, like, you've been in the business for all of your life, but so you probably know a lot of these agents already, but now you've got this new venture and they're wondering what's going on here. Why is Abru like, is this the same Abru that I have known for decades, or is this a new Abru, or what? How do you negotiate that territory?
A very good point, actually. I mean, for instance, before we started, I had a very good relationship with the current companies in Greece. There are a couple of companies who are in the same network that we are member of. So similar to what I just explained, business colleagues, but also friends.
Mhm.
Once we decided to, when we announced this new company, again relocation, we just saw it totally. I mean, I think it's also maybe cultural, depending on where you are doing this new establishment. Quite hostile attitude. They see as a big threat because two companies. I mean, the Greek partner, he doesn't own any company, but he brings all the local knowledge. This was a very, very big pro for us.
Mhm.
I mean, plus for us.
Mhm.
But on the other side, there is a strong name in Switzerland and also in Turkey. So we can always use our connections in the international agent business to bring some business to the company, to this new company in Greece.
So I know that. So you've been in the business for decades. So a lot of people are going to know you, and your one of your partners has also been in the business for a long time, and so they're going to know him. How about this? And but then you mentioned this third person in Greece. Has this third person in Greece also been in the business for a long time, or is this a new person?
He hasn't been, he's a professional, with well education.
Hmm.
He worked for multinational companies, but for the last little over 10 years, he was managing another moving company in Greece.
Okay.
And we were in close collaboration with this company, but
Mm.
then this company was sold to an investment company. So some dynamics has changed, and our third partner, Pana, decided to start his own company. This is where this whole idea came out.
Oh, okay. So let's switch gears here a little bit. Um, One of the questions that we often run into is what is the importance of face to face connections or face to face meetings? And you've been in the business for a long time. Both of your partners have been in the business for a while. So you probably know a lot of the people and you're friends with the people and you probably see these people regularly. But in your opinion, if you were to weigh the the importance of a face-to-face relationship with a potential customer versus not having a face-to-face relationship, never having shared a beer or shared a dinner or anything like that, but looking really good on paper, what are your thoughts on that? The face-to-face versus just looking good on paper?
Uh, Nothing can replace face-to-face interaction, in my
Mm.
opinion. I mean, it is always good to have technical tools like Zoom and team meetings, uh, but especially, I think the social conversation, in addition to the business meetings, followed by business meetings, makes us create bonds with people.
Yeah.
It is the time where you can also build trust, personal information. I mean, in my business, I see a great benefit of that. That's why, you know, for instance, during the pandemic, we didn't, all the events, industry events has been canceled,
Mhm.
which was the case for everyone.
Yeah.
But right after that, we started business as usual. I mean, nothing has changed there. We still have a number of conferences or meetings. We make a special trip to USA because it's one of the biggest booker in the world for when it comes to relocation. To those agents that we know since 30 years, but yet we do it every year. We visit them in person, face to face. We first do our meetings with their teams, but then we do a lunch or dinner with a social conversation.
Hmm.
And during those face-to-face meetings, we have the opportunity to, how do you say, to establish our trust or strengthen our trust.
Sure.
Plus, where we are today, uh, things are changing so fast,
Hmm.
and I think it's very important to keep this face-to-face meetings.
And one thing that you mentioned also about your partners, there are three of you. Is that correct? Three
Yeah,
three partners. Okay. So one thing that you mentioned about your partners, you have a background of decades in the moving industry. One partner has a background of decades in the moving industry. Another partner, if I remember correctly, has a lot of experience in the Greek partner, the one with 10 years. So has a lot of experience in the moving industry, but also has experience in the multinational corporation, working for multinational corporations, right?
correct.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, what is the importance of, I imagine that having that experience in working inside of a multinational corporation would give you a pretty good idea of, you know, what are the operations like inside of a multinational corporation? What vocabulary should I be using? How can I relate to these people? Do you find that helpful to have that kind of inside perspective when you are pitching business, to have that inside perspective on what a company might be looking like?
This is a really good point because, like you just said, he has a better understanding of the expectation of our clients. He's been on the other side of the table, so he knows what is expected. It can be at the service level, or it can be at the communication level, or when it comes to claim process. Pana, in that sense, brings a lot of experience of this corporate world. But I think more importantly, him being local uh, brings a lot because me and Lawrence, we are both running our business. We take some things for granted. I mean, our company is, as I said, 63 years old. So I have the advantage of name being known in many ways. Like, uh, I don't need to start from scratch to sell it to the corporates. They know it. They know us already.
Yeah.
In this new company, we are just a new company, another new name in the market.
Mm.
And not only amongst the clients mindset, but also vendors, packing material. I mean, we need to start from zero. And also the competition is trying to make our life more complicated. So I'm hearing that things like they are warning some manpower not to, work with us. It can be handyman and so on. So it is really a whole new experience, I have to say. I mean, we are quite spoiled in our companies, but I think the heaviest load goes to our partner, which is a Pana Greek partner.
Yeah.
And his know-how plays a big role there in many ways, like corporate world experience, plus the local knowledge and cultural senses.
There are, before we wrap up for the day, there are two questions for you that I wanted to get in, and one is about the local connection, um, because on the one hand, you you have a lot you have decades of experience in the business. Your one of your partners, the Swiss one, has decades of experience in the business. The partner in Greece also has a lot of experience, maybe a a little bit less, but still a lot. Uh, but here you go mentioning the importance of having a local connection, local knowledge of the business. Do you think that you would be able to you think that a venture like this would be successful if you did not have that local person on the ground in the place that you want to sell to? Do you think the business would be successful then?
I think it will take longer. I mean,
Mhm.
I can't say that we are successful yet, but many things would take longer, like bureaucratic process,
Mm.
having Hana, his local connection, lawyer, accountant, cost-wise, because we decided to start small. It is not an expansion, it's a new establishment there in what we are doing. So we
Okay.
wanted to go with, slow in terms of financial expenses, because we know that few months there will be no way to earn money. Uh, I, I mean, if it wasn't for Pana, if we didn't have any local connection, I wouldn't dare to start such an initiative, especially economies that we are going through right now. In Turkey, the economy is quite tough, but
Mhm.
generally in the world, whoever I talk to in my industry, in fine art transportation industry, I'm hearing there's a huge decline in the volumes, business volumes. So it is not the best time to make investment, but local expertise and local presence, which is the third partner, makes a big role in that decision. And I'm quite confident that it will be successful, follow quicker than without having a local knowledge.
Yeah, and so one other thing that I wanted to ask you about, before we wrap up for the day. So all 3 of you have been in this business for a long time. You're not brand new in the business. And yet you mentioned that we are starting from 0. A lot of times we are starting from 0, and I'm wondering, why is that? I mean, it sounds quite logical to me, but I still wonder, why is that? Like, why when you're sitting across from the table, when you're sitting at the table across from a potential customer, and all 3 of you have a ton of experience in the business, and yet this potential customer is still seeing you as the new kid in town. Why is that? What do you think is going on in their mind that makes them think that?
I think if it comes to agents, agent business, they see us, okay, let's give them a time if they are really if they are really strong enough to handle our business in a way. Because household goods moving requires a lot of investment, and we need to build a warehouse, but we are not there yet. So they just want to wait and see. Uh, yes, we have our names, they know us, but they know us with our what we have been doing in our home countries, like me in
Mm,
Turkey, running our family business, same with the other partner. So I think they would like to wait and see how things progress.
mm,
They don't want to risk. And for instance, in order to become a member of some international associations, we need to be at least 1 year old as a company.
yeah.
So this even tells something, how things progress. That's why I said from the scratch. But I also, me and my partners, we are quite humble. We just, I mean, we we go with baby steps to avoid big mistakes, but we want to be there for a long time. So I think having this amateur feeling is kind of healthy. I mean, to push it harder, to be accepted by clients and even
Yeah.
by competition.
Uh, so let me see if I am hearing you correctly. So the potential customer on the other side of the table, they they're thinking, okay, this is on the one hand, this is great. All 3 of these people know the industry really well, but I'm still concerned that operationally, is this new venture going to make it? Are they going to be able to move the container from point A to point B? Are they going to be able to do the paperwork? And Are they going to know who to call when a problem comes up? Stuff like that. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Very
Ah,
well said.
okay. Interesting. So not only is the potential customer looking at what is your experience in the industry, but they're also wondering about the new venture and can the new venture operationally, even if no matter, even if it's completely staffed by people who know the business like the back of their hand, they're still the potential customer is still wondering, can the this new venture operationally handle what I need it to do? Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Ah, okay, interesting. So, okay, so we're going to have to wrap it up here in a few minutes. But before we wrap it up for the day, Ebru, is there anything else that you would like to mention that we haven't talked about yet?
No, thank you very much for this opportunity. All I can say that being in the industry for a little over 30 years, I enjoy what I do. But such a new expansion or step is a new beginning, is another excitement and adrenaline. So I think it's always nice if you have the opportunity to get out of your safe zone.
Yeah,
It's
true.
a risk, but it's a nice one. So yeah,
That's a good point. It's and one more thing before we go. So back us up to the very beginning again. You mentioned that or you've been in this business all your life. Uh, what was it that caused you to say it is time to pull the trigger and do something, start something from scratch? Because you could have just sat back and rested on your laurels and, you know, not done anything new. You didn't have to do this. So back us up to the very beginning and remind us, why did you decide to start this thing from scratch?
I mean, we were three of us traveling from ferry Athens to one of the Greek islands for a meeting. And then it was a very casual conversation, three of us. Since we know each other and trust and respect to one another, because I wouldn't do it with many people. I mean, partnership can be very complicated.
Yeah,
Uh, I'm I'm working for a family company, and even within the family, you have some good times and bad times.
true, true.
So imagine doing it with totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, Swiss, Greek, and Turkish. So
Uh,
even the cultures are totally different.
yeah,
But this casual conversation just end up, brought us to where we are today. And so far, I haven't regretted. I mean, it wasn't a well thought idea, but
yeah.
we are like mindsets. So we know each other through our business, our capacities and everything. And I'm very excited of this decision. Yeah, it's
Excellent.
out of my comfort zone, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so let's wrap it up for today. So thank you for listening in. And Abru, thank you for joining us today. It was a real pleasure to have you back on the podcast.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. It's always pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And so Alper and I will be back in a couple weeks to talk to you again. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
in. Bye bye.
Bye bye.